Tonight, a murder charge against a Theberton mum over the death of a top Adelaide doctor sensationally dropped. Also, carjackings, a crash and arrest during a wild 200-kilometre long police chase. A night of mayhem in the southern suburbs, 3 women stabbed and 2 suspects in custody. An early Christmas gift for some lucky Adelaide motorists, petrol slashed to $1 a litre. The disturbing rise in porch parcel piracy across our suburbs, an exclusive report. And Aussie opener Usman Khawaja is back at his ICC reprimand for wearing a black armband.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Mike Smithson.
Good evening. First to breaking news, and a Theberton mum arrested over the home invasion death of paediatrician Dr Michael Young has just walked from prison. Live now to Deanna Williams. Jacinta de Villa's murder charge has been dropped.
That's right, Mike. A short time ago, she walked from the women's prison here at Northfield to be reunited with her 9-month-old daughter just in time for Christmas. De Villa was collected by a family friend and will be allowed to live with her mother at Mile End under strict home detention conditions. Her release was granted after investigators made the shock decision to drop the murder charge against her. Were you there that night? What happened that night, Jacinta? Were you there that night? What about your daughter?
That night.
De Villa and her fiancé, 22-year-old Karem Aiden, were arrested in dramatic scenes last week and charged with the murder of leading paediatrician Dr Michael Young during a violent break-in at his Gilberton home. But prosecutors now believe De Villa wasn't even at the crime scene. She's now charged with assisting an offender. It'll be alleged she knew her fiancé had committed a crime and impeded the investigation by not reporting it to police. De Villa was visibly emotional when her bail was granted this morning, wiping away tears and thanking the magistrate. She's been ordered to wear an electronic monitoring bracelet and is banned from contacting her fiancé. And Mike, a funeral for Dr Michael Young will be held in Norwood on the 6th of January, and members of the public are invited to attend. Back to you.
Thanks, Deanna. Now to the dramatic arrests of a couple wanted of a wild crime spree and police chase that began in Port Pirie and ended in Adelaide. It's alleged the pair carjacked 2 drivers before slamming into an innocent motorist on busy Kensington Road.
Surrounded by police in a Rose Park driveway, this is the moment a dangerous pursuit that started near Port Pirie came to an end in Adelaide's leafy eastern suburbs.
Not what you expect on a quiet Rose Park street. Guy's just been tasered in the backyard of our neighbour's place.
It's alleged this man carjacked 2 innocent motorists during a wild afternoon crime spree that started more than 200 kilometres away. Just after 3 o'clock, he crashed into this Jeep at the intersection of Kensington Road and Queen Street.
The car came through, hit her twice from behind and took off with a couple of cop cars behind him.
By then, the stolen Subaru was down to its rims. Residents heard the vehicle screeching through the back streets. The driver dumping the badly damaged car and fleeing, leaping over the Cooper family's fence and bolting into their backyard. The drama playing out in front of 2 9-year-old boys jumping on a trampoline.
I heard the taser, and then I was just standing there just watching him. Just watching them wrestle him to the ground.
The bad guy was running around the backyard.
Tasered and finally subdued, the suspect was dragged out and treated by paramedics.
Certainly not what we expect, on a street like this. So yeah, with kids around, it's pretty scary.
Stunned residents here say the driver only came to a stop when the car he was driving was boxed in by police.
Just driving home from a lunch ad and saw all these police cars in the street, and we didn't know what had happened. It's shocking.
The Whyalla man is facing numerous offences, including multiple counts of car theft. Police say his female passenger will face charges too. Lauren Rose, 7 News.
A mentally ill man accused of murdering a real estate agent at Plimpton allegedly warned police he was having violent thoughts. Sean Dunk's accused of stabbing Julie C to death and seriously injuring her colleague inside the Lydia Street business on Wednesday. He'd just been released from psychiatric care and reportedly told police 2 weeks ago he feared he could harm someone else.
a senseless tragedy and a life lost is yet another reason for the government to turn its mind to the mental health system.
The surviving victim, Susan Scardino, remains in a stable condition in hospital. A young woman's in a coma, blinded in one eye after she was attacked with an axe and a knife at Hackham West. The 21-year-old was one of 3 women stabbed during the wild brawl, and her father's vowing revenge.
Cigarette in hand and hugging loved ones. An hour later, this man was arrested, accused of a brutal axe attack.
Bad. It's not fair.
Security cameras captured the moments leading up to the vicious brawl. Anna Pascali and her boyfriend can be seen walking home after drinks with mates who allegedly turned on her.
Anna came home and told me about what her uncle did to her, and Anna tried telling her friend what happened. Her friend didn't believe her, and her friend ended up stabbing her, and it just poured out all over the streets.
Anna and her mum Yvonne were stabbed repeatedly.
The guy ended up coming out like with an axe and ended up hacking my partner. My partner's mum ended up getting her face ripped open with a knife.
Jake says his girlfriend fought back in self-defence. 3 women were injured in the fight and rushed to hospital just after 4 a.m.
Some chick just gone mental at someone, and then I woke up to just a bunch of cops and ambos down there.
After undergoing emergency surgery, Anna remains in a coma tonight in a serious condition, her father sending an ominous warning to her attackers.
These people, they're going to come for punish, and I'm going to spear them like a dog. Bottom line, it's not fair.
Police and SES crews scoured the scene looking for weapons. Witnesses have told 7 News what they saw here this morning was so violent and confronting, they're organising a counsellor to help deal with the trauma. This 35-year-old man and 21-year-old woman have been charged with aggravated assault.
I just think they're low-life pieces of and they get what they deserve when they go to jail, I guess.
Mitchell Sariovsky, 7 News.
Another South Australian family is mourning the loss of a loved one just days before Christmas after a 37-year-old man was fatally struck by a car at Elizabeth Grove. He was crossing Hogarth Road just after 4 this morning when he was hit by a Ford station wagon.
I heard like a loud crash, and we looked outside. Within like 1 minute, there was already cops there.
Emergency crews rushed to the scene, but the man couldn't be saved. The driver's helping police with their investigation. Those planning to leave their festive food shopping until the last minute are in luck. Casey Treloar is at the Central Market case. They've extended their trading hours.
Mike, there is the usual trading tonight until 9 o'clock, but then over the next 2 days, it'll be chaos in here with the roller doors opening from 7 a.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. The extra hours means shoppers can get everything they need for the festive feast, while also giving traders the opportunity to cash in on one of the busiest times of the year. The Smelly Cheese Shop is expecting to sell several tons of cheese, while several tons of seafood is also expected to be sold.
Just can't keep up with the stocking, restocking, because they just keep flying out the door.
We've been ready for weeks and now it's happening, so it's quite exciting.
Now, if you still haven't finished gift shopping, you are in luck. The major retailers in both Rundle Mall and the Westfields will once again be open right up until midnight tonight. As for the Christmas forecast, there is parts of the state that might need to reconsider the outdoor barbecue. More on that later this hour. Mike?
Thank you, Casey. And Christmas has come early for hundreds of Adelaide motorists who cashed in on a festive fuel deal. Word spread quickly with a massive lineup of cars snaking its way down Busy Port Road.
X marks the spot for a festive fill-up. Fuel in Hindmarsh for less than $1 a litre.
I'm keen to get it in my car and get out of here.
It's a good deal, but a bit of a traffic jam though. I don't know if the police are happy about it.
Dozens of drivers banked up on Port Road to give their cars some Christmas gravy during the deal's 4-hour window.
In about the 3 years I've owned this car, I've never got 98 until now.
The servo's stocking filler was a hot deal for a hot rod, plus a godsend for small business owners squeezed by rising costs.
The average fill up for me is around the $450, $500 to fill it up, so at this price, I'm not going to say no.
It's likely to be the last blip at the Bowser until Boxing Day. The RAA says the best deals right now are in the regions.
So if you're going to see the rallies over the next couple of days out in the country, you're better off getting your petrol out there.
The owner says $1 a litre fuel has the servo running at a loss, but he admits it's good publicity in such a crowded marketplace and gives struggling South Aussies a break.
Usually it's about 60, 70, and if we look here, it's about 29. So I'll take that.
Receipts so good, they're checking them twice until the next Bowser bonbon cracks. Tom Johnson, 7 News.
Emergency crews have raced to a business on Green Hill Road after reports of a gas explosion. 7 News understands an employee suffered burns to his head while trying to relight a hot water system. The man in his 40s is recovering in the Royal Adelaide Hospital. A gunman has randomly opened fire on people at a university in Prague, killing at least 14 and injuring 25. It unfolded in the Czech Republic's capital at Charles University in the old town of Prague, from where our Europe correspondent Ashley Mullaney reports.
Emerging from a fourth-floor balcony, indiscriminate gunfire from a lone killer. He just stalked the arts department of Charles University for victims. As he closed in, students felt they had no choice but to jump. Some risking a plunge to the ground to hide. Heart-stopping fear in a historic city. Others barricading themselves in classrooms.
We heard gunshots ringing. And we saw the SWAT teams arriving and storming down the street.
As snipers moved in, people fled through one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations, hiding in banks, restaurants, anywhere they could.
Everywhere was just blue lights flashing and ambulances flying through the streets. Just a moment in history that you never want to be part of.
An active shooter told us to get down, stay indoors and turn all the lights off.
This 14th century school, one of the most prestigious in Europe, is tonight a crime scene and the site of the worst mass shooting in the Czech Republic's modern history. The lives stolen here were just getting started. This killer has been named as 24-year-old David Kozak, a student with no clear motive.
There is no evidence at this time that this act is in any way related to international terrorism.
Investigators believe he killed his father at home to start his reign of terror, ending it by killing himself. In Prague, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
South Australians who are feeling isolated or vulnerable can register for a free welfare check during summer heat waves. The telephone service is being offered in partnership with the Red Cross.
When a heat wave is declared, that is the 3 days of 32 degrees or more, volunteers will spring into action and call out and check if people are okay.
Authorities say the service is particularly important for the elderly, people who are living alone, have a disability or are experiencing a mental illness. Residents have returned to the rubble that was once their homes after a raging bushfire in Perth. One family's pets are alive because their security cameras alerted them before the fire took over in just a matter of minutes.
A life's worth of memories gone in minutes. The Moody family was planning Christmas, now just hoping to have enough clothes and food for the weekend.
Our son had his 17th birthday the day before the fire, so all his presents, everything are gone. All the Christmas presents are gone.
Julie only learnt about the inferno from a security camera notification, opening her phone to see flames engulfing their Perth property. Julie's husband Craig dashed home to save their dogs.
It was all on flames across the driveway, so I backed down the driveway, went around, I'll come in through this property, come through and got my dogs.
That is literally all we got out.
The house is insured, but much of what's inside can't be replaced.
A lot of memories here. Fortunately, my mum also passed away and I have a lot of memories from her, which are all gone.
Firefighters and water bombers controlled the blaze in just hours, but were too late to save the 3 homes. Today marks 17 years to the day since the Moodys moved into this property. It took just 6 minutes to turn what was a 3-storey family home
into rubble and memories.
The 5 emergency level fires across WA have all been downgraded, but there's more heat ahead. Homes and livelihoods at stake. Lockie Burns, 7 News.
The nation's largest hospital and aged care provider, St Vincent's Health, has come under attack by hackers. The health giant learned of the cyber breach on Tuesday. 3 days on, it's yet to determine what information was stolen and whether patients are caught up in the hack.
Any breach is a significant issue, and of course we're distressed by that.
St Vincent's Health says so far none of its services have been affected. Usman Khawaja says he's been treated unfairly by the International Cricket Council after a reprimand for wearing a black armband in the Perth Test. He won't wear it again on Boxing Day, but will continue fighting to share his humanitarian statements.
Launching Cricket Australia's Multicultural Action Plan today, a 4-year project from the heart of a Pakistani boy turned batting maverick.
The issue is that for a long time, Cricket Australia has been a very white-dominated sport. We have such great participation of Southeast Asian communities and multicultural communities in Australia, but we never see that reflected in the Australian cricket team.
Usman Khawaja, a face of modern Australia and proudly different, now faces ICC reprimand for wearing a black armband in last week's Perth Test.
I told it was for a personal bereavement. I never ever stated it was for anything else. Guys have put stickers on their bats, names on their shoes, done all sorts of things in the past without ICC approval and never been reprimanded.
He won't wear the armband on Boxing Day, but will keep challenging to wear "All lives are equal" on his shoes in despair at the Israel-Gaza conflict.
We're also very conscious that people want to come and really just enjoy and watch the cricket.
All lives are equal is a sentiment that I think is uncontroversial.
I don't have any agendas other than trying to shine a light on what I feel really passionately, really strongly about. I'm trying to do it in the most respectful way as possible.
There was a clear agenda today, smoothing the path behind Khawaja for a new generation of Australian cricketers.
So everyone could feel like they're a part of it. Cricket's given me so much, I love the game. So I just want everyone to feel what I felt.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
It's a difficult one indeed. Now, let's check in with Abba. What's coming up?
Smitho, Pat Cummins has landed in Melbourne ahead of the Boxing Day Test. And after a big win from the IPL, this Aussie skipper has opened up about his captaincy. And Adelaide United stopper Joe Gauci gets an early Christmas present from the Socceroos. And despite sitting at rock bottom, the 36ers are talking up a bright future. You've got to admire that, Smitho.
You'd certainly do. Thanks, Bruce. Well, it's a disturbing trend on the rise across Adelaide. Sneaky thieves stealing parcels from porches. Our exclusive report coming up next. Also, the PM heads back after Hamas praises Australia for backing a ceasefire. A Rawsome foursome makes their public debut at Monarto Safari Park. And later, Bruce Lerman's lawyer calls him the victim of a virus of madness. 'Tis the season for giving, but opportunistic thieves have been captured on camera helping themselves. The southern suburbs woman's told 7 News she was threatened with a knife after confronting a suspect who'd stolen a parcel left at her door.
This is the thief Sarah Hooper says ruined her Christmas, shamelessly riding off with a parcel containing her brand new $500 sneakers.
I think he was following the postie van.
The professional gift wrapper says it didn't take her long to track him down. She's told 7 News she then went to the police after he turned on her with a knife.
I'm somebody that if I had a parcel delivered to my house and it was the wrong address or something, I would take it to the person.
Across town at Holden Hill, Sam Carlton watched remotely from work as at least 4 parcels were delivered. Within minutes, a stranger had come to collect them.
Desperation, just wanting to get something for nothing. I've seen it happen to other people, online and whatnot, but I never thought it would be me.
Police say the holidays are prime time for parcel pirates.
People see it as an opportunity to quickly and swiftly take items from a doorstep or otherwise unmonitored.
As many as 1 in 5 Australians has been targeted by parcel thieves. It's a crime that's cost more than $500 million this year alone. and proof that just about anything can be targeted, even these rolls of toilet paper at Clovelly Park.
The first step is really engaging with your neighbours and looking out for each other.
Other options include parcel lockers, secure post boxes and scheduling a delivery when you're home. Hayden Nelson, 7 News.
A massive shed fire has threatened homes at South Plympton. Thick plumes of smoke could be seen coming from the backyard of the Lawrence Street home just after 2:30 this afternoon. Firefighters managed to stop the fierce blaze from spreading to adjoining properties. Investigations into the cause are continuing. Anthony Albanese has savaged a Hamas propaganda video claiming Australian calls for a ceasefire in Gaza will help isolate the Israeli government. Labor has also angrily rejected opposition demands to send a warship to the Red Sea.
Day 76 of the war and the fighting is escalating. Israel demolishing a major tunnel network connecting Hamas homes and hideouts. Australia joining Canada and New Zealand mourning the loss of life on both sides, calling for a sustainable ceasefire. A statement being twisted by Hamas in this unverified video.
We welcome these developments and consider them in the right direction toward isolation, the fascist Israeli government.
Slammed as propaganda by the Prime Minister.
I have contempt for what they did and unequivocal condemnation of their actions.
Equally unequivocal in rejecting calls from the opposition to reverse a decision not to send an Australian warship to the Red Sea as the conflict spills across the region.
We should be supporting our allies.
Refusing a US request for firepower to help defend against Houthi attacks on foreign cargo ships.
Our region is where our national interest lies, and our region is where our assets will be.
Instead, sending 6 extra Defence Force personnel as part of a multinational mission to secure the vital shipping route.
Sending some personnel is not enough.
They are essentially making an argument for Australia's military commitments to return to the Middle East.
Labelling that utterly clueless and would leave Australia weaker, noting the US is deeply appreciative of the support being offered.
The Houthis aren't attacking just one country, they're really attacking the international community. And they really need to ask themselves if they've bitten off more than they can chew.
Rob Scott, 7 News.
A Rawsome foursome has made a public debut at Monarto just in time for the school holidays. While cautious at first, the curious lion cubs have been quick to explore their new habitat.
They've all got very unique personalities. Little boy, he's very chilled. We've got a couple of little feisty girls in there as well. Got quite a lot of attitude.
Very cute. The cubs were born in August but don't have names yet. Keepers have a few options in mind. You can vote for the ones you like by heading to their website. Bruce Lerman's barrister has delivered an explosive closing address as the month-long defamation trial wraps up. That's next. Also, a special gift to help with the far north Queensland flood recovery. A snaky surprise down south hidden among a woman's television cables. And later, what it will cost Australian drivers for cleaner, better fuel. Bruce Lerman's defamation action against Channel 10 has concluded, with his barrister accusing Brittany Higgins of making up lies to support her claims of being raped at Parliament House. He argued her decision to go on television instead of to police unleashed a virus of madness.
On the trial's final day, Bruce Lerman's lawyer said no matter who wins, he'll forever be seen as the person who raped Brittany Higgins. Her sexual assault claim versus his denial, boiling down to the evidence of 2 relatively young, fairly immature, ambitious, self-confident and to a degree self-absorbed young people. Calling this a case of lies, damned lies and CCTV, arguing Security Vision debunks claims Lerman spent all his time with Higgins and buying her 2 drinks wasn't plying her with alcohol, but the judge reflected, out drinking with an attractive woman seen kissing, heading to a private place. Does a man in a situation like that have French submarine contracts on his mind, or does he have something else on his mind? Lerman's barrister responding, the fact that they go back with that intention doesn't mean that it happened. Mr Whybrow accusing Higgins of fabricating evidence, including the bruise photo. Ms Higgins has lied to her employer, she lied to her partner, she's lied to federal agents she lied to Angus Llewellyn and Lisa Wilkinson. Mr Whybrow conceding some of Lerriman's evidence was unsatisfactory, but denying he was a compulsive liar, arguing that if Higgins had gone to police before going to the media, there would not have been a virus of madness that spread amongst everybody from politicians to journalists where the rights of the individual ceased to exist. Ms Wilkinson, how confident are you of winning this case? Lerriman's side accusing the Project of being so keen for the story, Higgins was never challenged, arguing Lisa Wilkinson's Logie's speech made it worse.
Have a lovely afternoon.
The verdict, whether Bruce Lerriman was defamed. Do you think the judge will believe you or Brittany Higgins? To come in the new year. Paul Kadak, 7 News.
The Israeli Defence Forces released video of a tunnel being blown up in Gaza City. Military leaders claim the tunnel was housing hideouts and officers belonging to Hamas. A new report from the UN shows Gaza's entire population of 2.3 million people is facing crisis levels of hunger and risk of famine. Fast and Furious actor Vin Diesel has been accused of sexual battery by a former assistant. The woman says the actor forced himself on her when he was filming Fast 5 in 2010, claiming she was fired hours later. She's suing Diesel and his production company for alleged gender-based discrimination and wrongful termination. The Prime Minister has announced a $64 million recovery package to help flood-ravaged far north Queensland. Touring the popular holiday destination today, he's calling on Australians to book a trip to help operators stay afloat.
An early Christmas delivery in the far north. 2 pallets of Queensland nectar from the Prime Minister and Premier.
It's for later. At the worst of times, we always see the best of the Australian character.
Meeting with heroes on the ground over a cooked breakfast.
It looks amazing. It's really nice of them to do this for us.
How's it been out there?
It's been a lot. But we're all really happy to help and be out there and do our part.
Who have braved heat and humidity to restore decimated communities.
It's quite devastating, but there's a lot of clean-up that's happened from all the community.
Lots of community pull together, which has been really lovely.
Rewarding local legends too.
Oh, they got them for me for looking after animals. I didn't expect that. And people, and yeah.
Roscoe sheltered neighbours Daniel, Wayne and their families when floodwaters almost swept them away, along with 5 dogs, a cockatoo and blue-tongue lizard. Along with his tour of these flood-ravaged communities, the Prime Minister is also announcing a $64 million package to help these communities get back on their feet.
We'll provide $25 million for primary producers who've suffered as a result of the flood events.
Another $25 million will go to small businesses and not-for-profit organisations, $1 million for each of the 9 local councils, as well as $5 million for tourism operators.
We are still a world-class destination. Please come.
We just encourage families around the country who are thinking about it to get online and start researching now.
In Cairns, Rachel Baxter, 7 News.
A woman at Sellex Beach got a nasty fright after finding an unwanted guest cleverly camouflaged in cables at the back of her TV cabinet. It took an eagle eye to spot the eastern brown that was hiding after being chased by the dog. The scaly visitor eventually slid out and was captured by the team at South Adelaide snake catchers. Well, a plan to make our cars and fuel cleaner will come at a cost, but should save us in the long run. That's next. Also, Rudy Giuliani declares bankruptcy, owing $500 million. And later, an alarming spike in credit card fraud at the worst time of the year. The Albanese government has revealed a plan for cleaner cars and higher fuel standards. It will cause petrol prices to rise, but experts say the changes will end up saving drivers money.
The fuel we pump into our cars is dirty by global standards and making us sick.
Our petrol standards have been way below everywhere else in the Western world.
Exhaust emissions creating lung and heart problems fatal for many.
What studies in Australia have found is that something like 11,000 premature deaths are caused every year.
The government announcing a solution: cleaner vehicles from late 2025. New cars, SUVs, vans and utes will need to comply with emission standards already in place in 80% of the world.
We are being treated as a bit of a dumping ground for older, less efficient technology.
It's the engine and drivetrains that will change. There won't be any models leaving the market necessarily.
And Australia's 2 fuel refineries are being upgraded to produce higher quality unleaded 95 petrol, pushing prices up 1 cent a litre.
It's important that we have the cleanest possible fuel standards in Australia, but we also have to balance those with cost of living.
You'll see better fuel economy and that'll offset any increases in prices.
In some good short-term news, petrol prices around the nation are falling tonight, delivering motorists an early Christmas present.
What are they? Oh yeah, it has come down quite a bit.
Yeah, it's great to see petrol prices come down. Really helps for Christmas shopping.
The average price in Sydney and Melbourne will soon drop under $2 a litre. Brisbane and Perth currently the cheapest markets.
Positive news right across the country. We knew that oil prices have been falling now since September.
Only now being passed on at the Bowser. Josh Martin, 7 News.
Believe it or not, living on a noisy street can put you at risk of heart disease, according to some of Australia's top scientists. The Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute has found noise levels trigger the body's stress response, driving up blood pressure.
Surges in noise levels can be problematic for heart health. Closing windows, having high fences and so on that can block out noise. There's many things that can be done.
They also recommend double glazing windows and doors to minimise noise levels. Donald Trump's one-time celebrity lawyer Rudy Giuliani has filed for bankruptcy after he was ordered to pay almost $150 million in a defamation case. All up, the 79-year-old now owes $500 million.
Former New York mayor turned Donald Trump's lawyer turned debtor, Rudy Giuliani, filing for bankruptcy after he was ordered to pay $148 million to 2 Georgia poll workers he falsely accused of ballot fraud.
The absurdity of the number merely underscores the absurdity of the entire proceeding.
Once Trump's right-hand man, now under the weight of a mountain of debt. Bankruptcy papers revealing Giuliani owes $500 million, including $4 million for legal fees and $1 million in unpaid taxes. He's also being sued by Hunter Biden, the president's son, for violating his privacy, and by 2 voting machine companies, which he claims tipped the 2020 election away from Trump.
You think anyone in that government has credibility after using a machine and fooling their citizens?
It's an extraordinary fall for the 79-year-old named Times Person of the Year in 2001 and once heralded America's mayor. His bankruptcy won't wipe the multi-million-dollar defamation bill, but it can't be collected until the process plays out in court.
Possibly we'll move for a new trial. Certainly we'll appeal.
And that could stretch on for years. In the United States, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
Now to your money, and it was a quiet end to the week on the Australian share market. The ASX 200 closed the day 3 points lower. Among the market movers, Pilbara Minerals added 11 cents, while Treasury Wine lost 22. The Aussie dollar is trading at 60. I think that should be, it's at 67 cents US and 53 British pence. Now, in a matter of just 12 months, the number of Aussies falling victim to credit card fraud has leapt by a third. It's prompted a pre-Christmas warning. Don't miss that story a little later on 7 News. Well, there's been a special rescue on a major road in Brisbane. Our cameras were there as a koala was pulled off a refuge island after a daring dash across a busy street. It happened in the city's outer north this morning. Police stopped traffic as wildlife workers bundled the koala into a carrier and took him somewhere safer. A good effort all round, Bruce. Yes. Now, a local gets an early Christmas present.
Smitho, how good is this, Joe Gauci, the Reds stopper? Coming up after the break, he talks about the call-up from Socceroos boss Graham Arnold for the Asian Cup. We'll hear from Aussie skipper Pat Cummins, who opens up on teammate Usman Khawaja's right to speak his mind. And the 36ers may sit dead last, but they reckon they're not far away from beating the best. Welcome back. All Pat Cummins wants for Christmas is a pace-friendly pitch on Boxing Day and for Usman Khawaja being allowed to speak his mind. And both are highly likely. Khawaja, Cricket Australia's multicultural ambassador, is staring down the ICC over his black armband reprimand.
In Melbourne before Christmas for Boxing Day, an early present, a pace-friendly pitch.
Being a bit green, bit of grass, some good pace to bounce, so hopefully much the same.
Cummins, the captain, still stands with Usman Khawaja.
I think you saw last week. Uz handled himself really well. I'm sure it'll be no different this week.
In his new job unveiled today, Khawaja called for change.
We need to do things a little bit differently.
Some of that difference the Pakistan-born Khawaja's already done.
For a long time, Cricket Australia has been a very white-dominated sport.
As Cricket Australia's multicultural ambassador, personal controversy. An ICC reprimand looms for wearing a black armband in last week's Perth test.
The armband made no sense to me. I followed all the regulations, the past precedents.
In Melbourne, no armbands, but he'll keep calling for peace in the Israel-Gaza conflict, still hoping to wear those all lives are equal shoes.
We live in such a beautiful country. I just want that for the rest of the world.
Sydney Sixers import Tom Curran will fight his 4-game ban, charged with intimidating and verbally abusing an umpire during warm-ups. With an appeal yet to take place, Curran will miss tonight's Sixers strikers clash.
I saw the footage. It's relatively damning.
Despite a 23-ball half-century from Jake Fraser-McGurk featuring 7 sixes,
who just keeps swinging.
Brisbane Heat beat Melbourne Renegades by 6 wickets. Andrew McKinlay, 7 News.
And Australia is toiling away on day 2 of the women's test against India in oppressive conditions in Mumbai. The Indian batters are backing up their outstanding performance by their bowlers on day 1. Indian openers led the run charge and Elise Perry dropped a sitter as pressure built. Australia was bowled out for 219 last night in a tough initiation to test cricket on the subcontinent.
It was shooting low. Little things we've talked about as a bowling group where we might have missed a slight trick there and we're a little bit slow to react.
The hosts are eyeing off a big first innings lead. They're 5 for 265. Adelaide United goalkeeper Joe Gauci has made a big step towards realising his Asian Cup dream, named the 26-man Socceroos squad for next month's tournament.
I mean, it's the biggest competition outside the World Cup that Australia can play in, so no real proud moment now to be involved.
First choice keeper Matt Ryan was included despite recent surgery on a broken cheekbone, while after 12 goals in 8 games for Melbourne victory, Uruguayan-born Bruno Fornaroli has also made the squad.
The most important thing with the Socceroos is form, and Bruno's done a fantastic job. He's had a fantastic start to the season.
World Cup goalscorer Matthew Leckie misses out with a hamstring injury. The Socceroos campaign begins against India on January 13. Brighton missed a chance to catch the Premier League's top 6 against Crystal Palace this morning. Palace led on the stroke of half-time. The visitors found a late equaliser through a Danny Welbeck header.
To the net! Crystal Palace's resistance is broken at last.
Brighton moves up to 8th. Despite sitting bottom of the NBL ladder, 36ers captain Mitch McCarron is confident the wins will come for his team, highlighting the fighting spirit shown in the loss to ladder leaders Melbourne United.
Some really good patches, and I'm not into the moral victory thing, but we did play better basketball at times on the offensive end, and there's some encouraging signs, but at the end of the day we need the win or it doesn't mean a lot.
A win against Brisbane on Christmas Eve would be the Sixers' first under interim coach Scotty Ninnis. The fans are getting restless in Detroit after the Pistons' 25th straight loss in the NBA.
Oh boy, here we go. Sell the team, they're saying.
Beaten 119 to 111 by Utah. Their one loss from equalling the all-time losing streak record. Josh Giddey's best start to a game this season was ended by an ankle injury in the Thunder's 134 to 115 win over the Clippers. The International Dreamers have arrived to take on our Sydney to Hobart yacht race, proving sailors are a rare breed. The tragic 1998 race convinced one of this year's visitors he had to do it.
Honestly, it was after a couple of drinks of tequila. One of my best friends did the 98 race. And I think since that day, and all the stories, it has been on my bucket list.
With unpredictable weather, these crews have no idea if they'll arrive in 2 days or by New Year's Eve. The Thunderbirds have locked down their most important signature with MVP Shamira Sterling-Humphrey signing on for the next 3 seasons. Great news. And our one to watch is racing at Murray Bridge, race 4, number 6, Solar Blast. Good luck with that. For tonight, that's our sport. More congratulations to Newport skipper Connor Rosie and his fiancée Maisie Packer. News they are expecting a little Rosie. What about that, Smitho? Welcome to Christmas.
Great news. And we're going to be grandfathers soon ourselves, so it's babies all round. Thanks.
The world keeps spinning, Smitho. I'll see you on Boxing Day. Best day of sport in Australia.
Sure is. Thanks for that, Bruce. Well, alarming statistics show the number of Australians falling victim to credit card fraud has jumped more than 30% in just 12 months. It's prompted a warning ahead of Christmas as police round up those accused of preying on cash-strapped families.
For 9 months, police have been making a list of suspects. And yesterday, they didn't ask twice. Arresting 26-year-old Mallory Cerezo, another alleged member of a foreign crime gang scamming millions from Australians by placing skimming devices on ATMs, cloning cards of unsuspecting victims. It's the 4th arrest since September.
They found 1,500 blank cards that are capable of extracting at least $3.75 million.
Latest data reveals fraud on card transactions rose almost 36% this year, totalling more than $670 million, the majority online, using details stolen through phishing, data breaches and fake shopping sites.
Overall, we're seeing the data up by about a third and back to pre-pandemic levels. That's really driven by international, transnational organised crime.
With a surge in spending for the holidays, authorities are warning people that now is the time to keep your guard up. Seeing a spike in shopping scams, the advice to take some simple steps to avoid having a blue Christmas.
Inevitably, people shop more online and you get things like the Boxing Day sales, so really encourage people to be vigilant. Look for that padlock symbol next to the website.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Great advice there. Well, stay with us after the break. The festive visitors bring smiles to the faces of kids in need.
Another warm day is in store tomorrow, but cooling off by Christmas Day. I'll have your weather forecast coming up live from the Central Market.
The news breaks on sunrise.
The unfolding fire emergency.
Breaking news, the Middle East is at flashpoint.
Start with what's unfolding.
The winds have picked up massively.
Start with the team Australia trusts.
One of the biggest issues that's facing the country at the moment.
Start with Sunrise.
Time for the weather now with Casey, who joins us again from the Central Market. Case, traders are preparing for a shopping storm over the weekend.
Mike, the shelves and fridges are fully stocked and ready to go for the monster Christmas rush set to kick off here from 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, cheese and prawns are set to be the hot ticket items, with several tonnes of each product to be sold over the next 48 hours. And to make the shopping experience here a little sweeter, parking is free for the first 3 hours. And it is a lovely balmy evening here, currently 27 degrees in the city after we reached a top of 28.2. Plenty of sunshine could be found right around the state today. Temperatures, though, still a touch below average. Murray Bridge reached a top of 28 today. Now, a high-pressure system south of KI is maintaining a southerly airstream, keeping a cap on temperatures. And then a trough of low pressure will drift into the north on the weekend, ahead of another trough over our eastern border, and that's likely to deliver some wet weather by Christmas Day. Interstate tomorrow, a sunny 25 for Melbourne, chance for a shower about Sydney and Brisbane, and over in Perth, a top of 34 degrees. Back home, temperatures looking to crack the 40-degree mark about some northern centres. Top of 31 for Port Augusta, 26 for Whyalla, 30 for Port Pirie, partly cloudy, and 34 for Renmark, 29 for Clare, Nuriutpa and Murray Bridge, a sunny 23 for Port Lincoln and Victor Harbour, and a mostly sunny 26 down in Mount Gambier. Looking at similar conditions again for the city tomorrow, with a top of 27 degrees. On metro waters, south to southeasterly winds below 10 knots, tending southeasterly to 15, winds up to 20 knots north of Brighton, seas increasing to a metre. To the surf, sadly not much swell is around. It'll be a bit onshore down south. The best option will be tomorrow morning when the wind is at its lightest. Now, looking ahead, partly cloudy and 22 for Christmas Eve. On Christmas Day, still looking at a possible shower and a top of 21, only looking around a millimetre. Higher falls are likely to be found around southern coasts like Victor Harbour, as well as down in the southeast. There's even a chance chance for thunderstorms about the eastern border on Christmas Day, then warming up again from Boxing Day. And before I go, let's take a look at tonight's ray of sunshine. Father Christmas has a very busy schedule ahead of the big day, but today he stopped by the Women's and Children's Hospital bringing some early festive cheer, hand-delivering presents and spreading some Christmas joy.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
The man in red wasn't alone with the clown doctor's help.
Me too. Thanks for that, Case. That's all the news to now. We'll have updates throughout the evening. Have a great Christmas. I'll be back in the new year as well from all the Adelaide 17 for now. It's good night.